Welcome aboard, it's Captain G. This is HBG's Invasion Italy. It is turn 8. We are in February of 1944. At the end of last turn, we rolled initiative. The Axis got 8, the Allies 7, but the Axis have a -2, so that 8 really is a 6 in effectiveness, which meant the Allies had initiative. So on the Allied air turn, the Allies pounded this position with attack aircraft, strategic bombers, sending their fighters. The Axis air chose not to challenge that and just to reposition further down the Adriatic, relocating from this city here because then they could reach and play a role in this part of the Central Peninsula. The Allied bombings did peel off a few infantry. The fortifications allow you to defend one infantry or artillery unit from a strike. So those were protected, and they peeled off some of the infantry that weren't protected. Also on artillery attacks, the Allies, since they had a large Canadian contingent here, fired into these hills, did pick off one of the Italians. The Italian has no supply. He can't retake the city, but just his presence on the board irritates the Canadians. So we got one this time. If there are any artillery left next round, we'll peel them off because a large part of this force were picked up by transports and moved into Sicily during non-combat for staging further up. But the big action was here between Naples and Anzio. The problem General Clark realized is he had his Ranger force here in Naples with a couple artillery, and there was still the 2nd Panzer that could come down and hit them, and he could not reinforce them during a combat phase. Non-combat takes place after combat. So what he decided to do instead was to take this force out of Naples, move them into Latina, and reinforce in this attack of the empty square by bringing in some Commonwealth troops. And you see all these guys stacked up to be taken off into the dead zone. They weren't killed by the empty tile in Latina. The Germans on their attack brought the 3rd Panzer down, retaking Naples temporarily. They didn't occupy it, and then moved up to Latina. And this 3rd Panzer, so that was 2nd, I think. 3rd Panzer was up here, moved into Anzio, where they were joined by armor units from Rome and hit Latina from the northwest. So from the southeast and the northwest, and these Allied units could not retreat because this armor unit didn't hit Latina from the east, which would have allowed them to retreat to Naples. They took Naples first and then moved in. So these guys had absolutely nowhere to retreat. It was heavy casualties on both sides. The German panzers rolled poorly. The SS panzers rolled very well, as you would expect. The Germans took about 14 casualties, primarily mechs and the artillery that they brought with them, and all the infantry that came down out of the mountains on the 7th. And then everything the Allies had on the beach, including the bulk of General Clark's armor, all 4 of his Ranger battalions, this whole Canadian armored brigade, a couple brigades, totally wiped out. So not only did they lose a city, but they lost a tremendous force. And General Clark has been fired, relieved of command, and Omar Bradley has taken over command of the Allied forces. Non-combat was just solidifying. Bradley himself was reinforced by the Commonwealth moving up and over to prevent a counterattack again by the Panzers. He's got to retake Naples. He's going to bring up forces from Palermo next turn to do that. On turn 8, only the Commonwealth received reinforcements. The U.S. and the Germans did not. So if we come down here to North Africa, you can see a continuing string of Commonwealth reinforcements. So we have now the New Zealand forces. We have more Polish. We've got the forces that were here last time moving up. So there's quite a mix of Canadians, Indians, British, American, all kinds of forces, which I really enjoy in this game. A true flavor of the United Nations aspect of the Allies. So that was it. That was the main battle, and it was a huge German win. Non-combat was reinforcing, shuffling German and Allied units into position for March of 1944. And we will, so we don't forget, roll the reinforcement phase. I'm sorry, the initiative phase next turn. All right, so once again, well, this time the Allies won outright. So that's -2, but the Allies won outright. So the Allies will retain the initiative, which sometimes is not a blessing. Sometimes you want to go second. So the enemy cannot react. But March of 1944, up next, and the Allies continue to move first with Omar Bradley now relieving General Clark of command. This is Captain G, over and out.